Welcome to Nutrition Plus 101. My name is Kristen Brown, and I have the honor and privilege of hosting this series. For our inaugural episode, we have Steve Carlisle, President of Nutrition Plus, and Dee Church, Vice President of Nutrition Plus. Thanks, guys, for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Steve, tell us about starting Nutrition Plus 23 years ago.
Well, basically, if we start from the beginning, there was a group of us original owners that started Nutrition Plus. We actually had we were working with another company as area sales managers, and we had actually built what we called the Texaco region for that company. We came in here. I was the first sales guy they hired, and then we hired a team in Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma. We called it the Texaco region, and we went to ranches and we pulled grass samples and water samples and developed minerals and did that for this company. And I worked for them for 10 years. But as companies merge and get bought out, I think they changed ownership 3 times in that time frame I was with them. They just kind of lost that personal touch. They were downside. I mean, they were wanting to keep all that business, but get rid of half the sales force and not be as personal to the ranch. And, we kind of developed that whole Texaco region. So we felt like it was time. We built all those relationships. We felt like it was time to go out and start our own company where we could concentrate and do what we do, on that level, going to the ranch, looking at cows, visiting with those people. And so we decided to start our own company, 2003.
Well, that's excellent. And what I hear you saying, because I think sometimes efficiency becomes the top driver, and maybe the company's bottom line becomes the top driver, which with these big, huge corporations, I mean, that's understandable, I say to a certain extent, but the relationships, it sounds like, were key, and the cattle and just those core values. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only way we've been successful is we have been, not being a large corporation and doing things on a large scale. We have to be more personable. We have to have those relationships. We have to outservice everybody else. I mean, I feel like we have to do what we do in a smaller region. So, and we have to be able to control our mixes, our mineral mixes. So a lot of times these bigger companies, they'll want to lease cost ingredients to help their bottom line. We won't do that. We want certain quality. We want a certain granulation size in our mineral. We want a certain type of ingredient that's more bioavailable to the cattle. And we're not going to give that up just for our bottom line. So we know what we want, and we have to outservice people. And so we felt like that's the only way we could do it.
Sure, that's excellent. And this ties into that, but I'd like you to go a bit deeper. But what would you say make up the foundation of Nutrition Plus?
What I feel like makes us different is just the people that we have that work for us and who we are, and the people that we work with, and in being able to we don't just have a standard line of product like a lot of companies. They want to have a smaller amount of SKUs or whatever. They could probably, I don't really know how many we have. It's a lot because we do so many custom, but to be able to go into those ranches and do custom blends and change, I think just the people we have, and then being able to do that at the ranch level is important, if that's what you're looking for.
Yes, definitely. Well, and talking about your team, y'all are cattlemen who are working and serving other cattlemen, And talk a little bit about that. Just building that core Nutrition Plus team for that, back in the day when y'all started, that group right there. And then we'll go into reps here in a second.
Yeah, I mean, all the original guys, all of us either ran, we either run cow calf, stocker cattle, or feed cattle in the feed yard. And some of us do all the, do all three. Uh, and we all had background in that, and when we were starting that whole Texaco region, most of us, we'd have a trailer and a horse with us going to those ranches and that we were calling on and eventually became mineral customers. We were, shipping cattle and branding and, that, we, because that's who we were. I took care of a lot of wheat pasture cattle. Uh, I feed cattle in the feed yard and do a lot of yearling cattle, grass cattle, wheat cattle. But myself, other guys that are partners own some ranches and do more of the cow calf. But uh, that's just kind of who we are as individuals and as a company. We wanted to keep that mentality. We're not just a sales group. We want to make sure we have quality products, something that we would want to feed our cattle to. So we're, it's kind of personal to us, I guess.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, and it seems like you and your team would bring a more logical perspective and logical attention to the products and to evaluating what the customers need, and seeing things kind of from their perspective, and being able to have those conversations. And do we need to tweak something, and you just understand. You have a different mentality, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes, you know, we'll have some nutritionists, outside nutritionists, for example, they might look at a product and say, well, you need to, let's change this and raise this phosphorus or this magnesium or what. Well, and I understand where they're coming from a pure nutrition value standpoint. They want to get a little more, but all that's not always putting more in there. It's not always the right thing if they won't eat it. So we've got a lot of hands-on experience out on the ranch, knowing what cattle, and there's certain ways that we can blend the mineral. You might even put a less phosphorus in there, get a little more consumption, making sure you get enough phosphorus into the cow. We've got experience dealing with that. We've had a lot of nutritionists come in and change some things at times, and then they wouldn't eat it, and they're not getting anything. And so, so I feel like we have a lot of years of experience in knowing how, on a free choice mineral consumption basis, knowing how to get cattle to eat the right amount of a good quality product.
Sure, that's excellent, and it's got to be interesting when the science, the numbers on paper, it doesn't translate. But it's cool that y'all can be flexible and you can make those shifts and pivot when you need to, and just say, I understand it works on paper, but it's not working in the pasture, and so we're gonna make that change. And what an awesome level of customer service, that customers aren't paying for something that's not working. From what I know personally as a customer and of Nutrition Plus, and being friends with both you and Dee separately for over a decade, it's so neat how our paths have crossed over the years in different ways. And then all that, I'm going to give our listeners a little sneak peek that we've done some of the recordings on technology already, and I mean, I'm just blown away by Nutrition Plus. Um, but one of the things that just keeps coming to mind is how Nutrition Plus encompasses the long-standing values of cowboy culture: honor, respect, taking care of family and friends, taking care of the land, cattle. And that doesn't happen by accident. And I think that says so much about what you, Steve, and your team have put together. And so I'm curious, with y'all structure of having reps and um, that opportunity, how does that translate over to the reps, and what are some of the qualities that you've seen over the years that make the reps successful?
You know, I probably might have a little different outlook when I'm looking for reps. Most of our reps are commission reps. They do other things uh, besides just work for Nutrition Plus. We have some that are, pretty much full time Nutrition Plus reps, but majority of them are commission guys. And some of those guys, I mean, they have to be in the cattle business. They have to be involved to be successful in my mind. And we have, some different guys that are reps for us that manage ranches, but they also rep for us on the side, and have a lot of contacts in the industry. Some of these guys are shoe horses for a living, uh, and those guys are really successful for us. They're out on those places shoeing horses, have those relationships. It's those types of we have other reps that work for other drug pharmaceutical companies that also rep for us, but they sell medicine to the ranches. So that's the ones that we look for. People that are already in the industry, that are involved in the industry, and uh, they work well with us too.
That's excellent. Well, and thinking about all those that you mentioned, that they're building relationships with people. And so it's probably a natural thing. I mean, again, when you have a great product, when you have something that can make such a difference for somebody's bottom line, you can't help but talk about it. But it sounds like they're able to do that in a way that's just very natural. I mean, it's just the everyday conversation, shoeing a horse, and you're standing there visiting and start talking about, like, I have this challenge, and the rep can then say, well, let's talk about that. Let's figure that out. And so it sounds like it's a very natural fit.
Yeah, I think it is, and we don't. Most of my guys have that same philosophy as I do. I mean, I mean, I don't sell anymore. I mean, I guess I do, just talking to people when I'm out at events or whatever. But I used to sell a lot for the company, and I when I'd go to a place, and I'd let them know I'm not here just to sell you something. I mean, that's just not what we do. If we can't help you, if we can't truly help your operation, make an improvement in what you're doing, uh, supply you with a better product, you don't have no business doing business with us. So we have to deliver on what we say. We're not just out there to sell them something. We stand behind it.
Sure, that's excellent. Well, with this episode and the series, it's for the rep. So if you could send a message, if you had something to pass along to the reps, encouragement, words of wisdom, anything like that, is there anything that you'd like to share with the group?
No, if they're just, I tell them all, you know, if they go to work, all these guys talk like, well, what can I do? It's not any secret to it. It's just be yourself. If you get up and go to work every day and you're just out working and you're trying, you're going to be successful. It's just, get up, put your boots on, get after it, and good things will come. And then, when they're first starting out, you know, uh, once they get a little success, and it's our job to help them with that, and that's all I would tell them is, if you're having a little problem getting started, be sure to reach out to any of our team. I'll personally go ride with any of them. D will. He's got Noah's our range specialist. We've got a good group of guys that can help them get started. But once they get kind of kicked off and going, it kind of snowballs after that. It's what I've seen from all the other guys, and so that's about all I'd have to tell them.
That's excellent. Well, now I want to bring in Dee Church. And Dee, I'd love for you to tell us how you came to Nutrition Plus and what your time here has looked like.
Hey, Kristen, thanks for having me. Yes, I've started with Nutrition Plus in the January of 2018. I went to college at Oklahoma State and then went to Texas Tech and got my master's degree in ruminant nutrition. I was finishing that up in 2017, and Nutrition Plus was at a career fair at Oklahoma State, and they were asking around, wanting a certain type of guy to come be a part of the team. And my name apparently kept getting brought up, and then a couple weeks later, I got Steve's number from the Oklahoma State people, and they told me to reach out to him. So I called him a couple times, finally got a meeting, and the only thing he asked me when in our first meeting was do you know how to work? He didn't care about my degrees. I mean, he cared, but that wasn't a piece of what got me on board with Nutrition Plus. And so the underlining thing I knew from the start was, are you going to wake up and go to work every day? And that's not get on a laptop. That's not get on a phone call. That's get out there, make the sale, go know your customers, go know the business, truly go to work. And so I knew that from the start. And I was a commissioned sales rep, moved to Oklahoma. And I kind of started like Steve said, where I had a 5-wide, 16-foot Delco trailer, and I put 2 tons of mineral in the back and a horse in the front, and we went and unloaded mineral and checked wheat pasture cattle. So I did that for 2-3 years. Then I moved back to Amarillo and kind of got into a little bit of a management role with Nutrition Plus. And then now, February of 2016, now I'm vice president, part owner, and run day-to-day operations for Nutrition Plus.
Well, that's excellent. And Steve, I want to jump back to you right quick because just in a side conversation that you and I had, you talked about and you mentioned that y'all have been approached multiple times to be bought out, but that wasn't your vision and your team's vision. So talk a little bit about that, and then kind of the foresight of bringing in some young folks.
Yeah, we we had been approached several times, different, people wanting to partner with us or buy us out or some type of merger, and and it's really gotten more so in the last 5 years probably, but it started happening 10 years ago or whatever. And so I had a conversation with the original owners 10 years ago, whatever. Do we want to position Nutrition Plus to be sold or down the line, or do we want to position it and grow it and keep doing what we're doing? And it was a unanimous decision. We decided we didn't want to sell or do anything like that. We wanted to grow it. So that was my opponent of that 10 years ago. I said, if we are, we need to start hiring some young people, get some youth in here, some fresh ideas, and let them grow their team. And that was when we hired D Church, and I wanted to move somebody into management to be able to run the day to day and become vice president and eventually probably run the company, and but let them bring on their team of some younger people with some fresh ideas and stuff. So that was our plan 10 years ago, and Dee's done a really good job of building a good young team, and excited. And they look at all the new technologies and we work with a lot of different companies with feed additives and different products, and they work on a lot of that. So I think it's been really good.
That's excellent. So, Dee, talk a little bit about maybe some of the evolutions that have happened since your time here.
Personally, my involvement, I went from a straight commission sales rep, just shaking bushes and seeing who wants to see if they want to try our mineral. And at first I had fed mineral, I had helped other friends, and I had been ranching with y'all and other people in the industry and put out mineral, and I didn't know why certain company minerals was better than others. I knew the science behind it, but I didn't know why this bag and this granular size was better than that. And so I told Steve up front, I just want to see if it sells. I think I could lean on my relationships, lean on my knowledge to get the first sale, but continual sales after that is all dependent on product quality. Um, so we got a couple customers. They wanted to reorder. They wanted to reorder again, and then it kind of snowballed from there. They told their friends. So for me, that was the start. Okay, this product, people want it. People want to be a part of this because they know that it works when it gets in their cattle. They know that they consume it consistently. And so therefore, hey, the gates are open. Let's go get in front of everybody because I know that this is something they want. Um, Growing into that, there's ever-changing technology, there's fads that come, there's different brands that have a better marketing scheme that, obviously social media has changed a lot in the last 8 years. To me, that's a big key of what makes you a large scale global company is your marketing scheme. At the end of the day, how you get it, where you get the product from, everybody can be talking about it, but nobody knows where to get it. We know we can get it to them. So the way we run our sales reps and the way we have so many, we have over 50 commissioned sales reps today. So we know those guys know how to service those customers. They know where they live. They know how to get to their ranches. They know how to find them. That's extremely important for us. So ever changing, watching what's next, watching what could be coming down the pipeline. Of course, we watched some of the cattle cycles in 14, 15 change. 16 prices went up, dropped down, guys got upside down. How could we help? We had customers that couldn't sell heifers or were way upside down on 4 or 5 year old cows. We help those customers get out from under that burden. And like Steve said, that's just having the connections within the industry with our team helps us to be maybe that much more efficient helping that customer. And then, man, just watching the technology and different minerals coming out and always going to learn more and always talking to other industry professionals. We have multiple connections, as you'll hear over this series, within the industry that are not paid by Nutrition Plus. They're paid by other companies, but they want to help us. We want to help them. And that all boils down to relationships, which is to me the core of Nutrition Plus, and work's number one and relationships number two. And if you want to get up and go to work and you love people, this selling mineral goes hand in hand because it's just helping people and it's helping them be more successful. And that's what's been a blast with Nutrition Plus because Steve said, what do you want to do? You could go make money doing anything else. You can go sit in a high rise somewhere. You can go trade stocks. You can go try to make a bigger dollar elsewhere. But for here, the relationships, the team, the time, the fun that we have, that's just, to me, that's second to none. And that's what's special about Nutrition Plus.
Well, I love hearing that. And, thinking about, um, as, when you're here at the ranch, or like when Noah came, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about Noah and bringing him on board, but coming out and doing the testing, the forage testing and water sampling when we were having trouble in a pasture, the cows weren't performing as well as other pastures, and trying to figure that out, and y'all showing up and walking alongside. it's just fun. It's fun when y'all show up. So, on that note about Noah, tell us about bringing him on board and how that has elevated y'all's customer service and what you offer.
Yes, Steve and I had a conversation probably 3 years ago. Obviously, talking about what's next for Nutrition Plus. How are we going to grow? Ultimately, grow sales is always the end goal. But how are we going to take steps to get there? And so I asked him and some of the original owners, what tool was in your toolbox that helped you be successful when you were at the other corporate company? And ultimately, everyone kind of said, forward sampling and having the science behind why we pick certain mixes was a really good tool. You could bring in the expert. He could tell you what you're missing. We knew we could service it. We know we can have that relationship. We know what the quality's there, but having that tool of why you need certain mixes was something they knew. That's something they did for their customers, but putting on all these others, like I said, over 50, not all those guys know how to do that. And so we needed a tool that could help those guys. And so we interviewed a few people. We looked at higher level education. We looked at higher level working. We looked at higher experience. We've looked at low and all those. So we end up finding Noah, and Noah fits our team because first off, Noah loves people, and second off, Noah loves education. And so he loves being in front of people and teaching them. And we get to have him on our team to teach people how to feed their cattle better. That's been fun. The science is in the grass. The science is in the feed. We all have the technology to extract that information. Other companies do too. I recommend it for any producer to get samples of their feed stuff and their waters and see what's causing different problems or what they're missing or whatever is happening. Knowledge is power. But for us to hire Noah, he fit our team because he's a people person first. And ultimately, you meet any of our Nutrition Plus guys and you listen to all these podcast series, it's all about the people and the relationships, and then it's the service. And mineral comes in that group. That's why we're there, but that's really we're there to help, to help.
Well, that's awesome. As we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to share about just the vision going forward? Again, cattle prices are good. People are excited. It's an encouraging time right now. But just thoughts for Nutrition Plus and maybe what the next 5, 10, even beyond looks like. What y'all hope for that?
I'm gonna let Dee speak mainly to that. I'm kind of at a spot now where, I'm more support. He's built a good team. He's got a lot of ideas as we move forward, and I tell him that I feel like it's my job just to support him and his team and give them the resources they need to be successful. And that's where I'm at. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do.
So, Dee, give us your thoughts.
Ultimately, the goal is to push this brand further than any individual. These guys that started over 20 years ago, 23 years ago, they had a goal to service their customers. This brand is bigger than any individual now. This brand is bigger than the original owners. This brand needs to go and help as many people as it can on the nutrition side of cow producers. With that, I want to continue growing our commission sales reps, continue growing our quality, having more industry partners at a corporate level that can access better ingredients that can help us. We've already put plans into place to work with other companies that we have a work ethic and a quality standard that they want to be a part of, and we think we can work hand in hand to help each other go further. Steve says he's not involved day to day, but Steve will ride with everyone day to day. He is accessible every day. He is the leader of Nutrition Plus, and what his standard and gathering people around him, just keep that going, because obviously it worked. There's no reason to change what isn't broken. This thing just, they started small and they grew, and then I started bigger than they started. So let's go up from here. And I think it's just exciting that the industry right now it's got money to spend on learning these things, and everyone's going to realize you can't skimp on nutrition, because it really will hit your bottom dollar at the end of the day.
Well, that's great. Thank you both for your time today and for your insight.
You bet. Thank you.
So, for the reps, through this series, we're going to dive into information about product, forage samples, and some of the technology that makes the products top notch. So, be sure that you tune in to each episode.